It's over here somewhere. Oh, here it is. It's on top of the box. Okay. Okay, we ready? Okay. I set the files already up. So what you would do, matching up the lot number, when your new lot comes in, you have this package insert. There's a lot of information. Most of the half of this down here is for other instruments. So you'll need to set up for each control value, low, normal, and high, their ranges. So if you go under Edit, you will see that you're going to enter your lot information, the expiration, you're going to select which level it is, and then you have to enter all of these values from their sheet here. Okay? Anytime you make those changes, always select Confirm. So when your new lot comes in next month, or a couple of months from now, or I guess in January, you can set up this one. So you'll see this is completely blank. This is where you'll set up your next lot. When your lot comes after that, you're going to have to delete out. You're going to have to delete out these here. Best bet is, once you go under them, running results, the best thing for you to do is to print all of this up before you delete out anything. That's always a safe thing. So again, in order to print, you would just have your tool button and then you would select print.
So the quality control every...
Quality control, your 3 levels of control are run once a day. Okay?
Once a day?
Well, usually once every 8-hour period if you're going by clear. Yeah.
So but this one, once you open them, they
expire in 7. So every day you come in the morning, you're going to power your instrument up, pull your controls out of the refrigerator, let them come to room temperature for 15 minutes. You're going to log in, do your startup. By the time that's all done, these have been probably sitting out for 15 minutes. By the time you get back, you're going to mix them and you're going to run each level. And I'm going to show you how to run each level. So
every day. So I may probably... How long this one's
once you open them, yeah. Once they're opened, you just write the open date so everyone will know that the daily controls will expire after 7 days of opening.
This is useless, so I'm not.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get rid of these, unless you want to just bring them and have people play with them. Do you know what I'm saying? To get used to.
Okay.
If you need samples.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go into again. We did our startup pass. We go into quality control. We're gonna run the low. Okay. Run in results. We can just make sure it's highlighted. Again, it'll show you where you are. The probe comes down. Again, we're going to make sure it's thoroughly mixed. No shaking. The shaking will lyse the cells and then it won't be.
Okay. No
so
shaking.
Just nice and mixed. The low control, you can see it's more liquidy, but be careful. Sometimes this one is the one that will throw you if you get any errors. You can see how the high is much more thicker, so you want to make sure you get that little red cell button broken from down at the bottom if they've been standing like that. So then all you do is you always should have gloves on. Get it right under the probe. Sometimes I just touch to make sure I'm all the way in the bottom, but then pull back a little bit. You don't want it hitting the bottom because then it might aspirate up here. Be trying to aspirate up and won't be able to. And that's it. Your results here, I ran them 3 times already just because that's protocol for initial installation, so you don't have to worry about that. Anything that's out of range is going to be bold on the screen, but you're going to have a report that's going to print, and it will also be bold with an L or an H determining whether if it's a low out of range or high out of range. So you would do that. You don't want me to run all levels, do you? Just, okay. So you would do that for each of your levels. If you were going to switch over to the next one, you can either go for previous screens and select normal, or you can always switch from here. And this is really tight, so you can always use these little arrow buttons. Again, it's a touch screen. Sometimes certain areas are a little bit more difficult than others, but you can use these arrows. One thing I also want to explain, if you forget to switch out of this and you happen to run your normal control in the low file, you can delete it out. So these little arrows are here.
Okay.
This S means select, and these little arrows. So if you unchecked one and go to the tool button, it'll say delete not selected, and you can get rid of it. Okay? So that's an option that you have there. Sometimes people forget, they get distracted, and you forget to switch the file. Okay, here's a copy of the report. Nothing is bold, nothing is flagged as far as being out of range. We've got our lot number and the L indicating that it's the low control, and everything is within range. So we know these are our values. We actually, put those in manually, and so that is what a low control report looks like. Okay, so now we're going to run a patient. So we're going to pretend this is our patient. So all your 3 levels are fine. You have no flags, no bolds. Now you can proceed and run patients for that day. So you would go under Run Sample, okay, and when you would select Next Sample. And here you would kind of make sure you get your little cursor up here, and you're going to add the patient's name. So we're going to call him Joe Smith.
Oh, that's how the input the patient's name.
Right. If he has a personal ID number, whether it be an account number, or a lot of people just use date of birth, you can just do 01/01/2001, and then always select Confirm, and then now you're brought back to the run screen and you're ready to go. The reason I picked the high control is because there's going to be some flags on the report, because everything will be out of range. I'm going to show you one thing I have to make sure. I ran it under the wrong file. I'm going to have to do that. This one's going to be flagged for everything. I forgot to tell you that it needed to be put into standard mode. Standard mode is just your basic normal patient, normal reference range. Okay?
That's for the
normal adult.
For the normal
right.
control.
Yeah. Well, we're pretending this is a patient. Okay. So when you run a patient, so don't even think this as a control right now. When you run a patient, you're going to run it under this screen here, Run Sample. Okay, your QC, remember, your 3 levels of control are run under this file. We're just running this pretending it's a patient. So when it's a patient, you're running it under Run Sample. My mistake was that I forgot to select it out of background.
But for the quality control, it stays on the background.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, nope. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just your patients. Your patients have to be run. So we're going to see this report's going to be flagged everywhere because I haven't explained to you what a background, the official background is. So this is when you have something that's way out of range. A background that I have set up for you. Well, we can still use this report. We have interpretive report, and you can let me know if you want to turn this off. A lot of physicians want it turned off. If a patient got this report, they would be panicking. They say, oh my God, I have leukocytosis, lymphocytosis, and all of these things.
In my case, they'll be there because in my country,
it would help.
Different setup. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to leave that on, but the only reason it did that is because I have background, and it's a little crazy. When you would want to run a background, if the machine's been sitting here for 3 hours, and nobody has used it 3 or 4 hours, you want to run a background. You want to make sure nothing just settled out, and that is not going to cause an erroneous result when you go to run a patient. So the only thing you have to do is you go into Next Sample, select Background, Confirm, and you just come over and hit the touch plate. Okay? The reason why we have all these flags is these are the normal reference ranges for a background. Okay? These are also the reference ranges for a startup, even though they do not print. Okay? So, but again, it will tell you if the startup failed, so don't get, so concerned. However, on our little cheat sheet that we have over here that you can use, put in the procedure manual, a quick reference guide will explain to you here what a startup, the values should be, okay? So this is a very good reference to when you're going to power the instrument on in the morning, do your startup. You're going to see what the values are. It also tells you how to do a manual shutdown, and then when you run your 3 levels of control and running a patient. Okay, and also here. Okay. So, and replacing the reagents. Okay. So here's our background. Everything looks perfect. Okay, it will automatically print as well. Questions?
I have to go with the manual again because.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to leave these sample reports with you. A lot of these nice little things to kind of refer to. I'll just put sample on these, and you can. This is the low control. But as far as that, just you may want to make a reference to when you get a lot of these flags here. there's certain interpretive reports in here, how to interpret the flags. It tells you, most likely, if you had a result like this, you would be ordering this as a manual diff. You would want to see what was going on. You know, stay in the slide and see, are there really these many cells present? Are there these abnormal cells present? So basically, you know, that's all of that. At the end of the day, you can select shutdown and it will shut down. But like I said, if you forget, it will automatically shut down.
So whenever you shut down, you have to go through the same procedure. You have to go to startup and this and that.
Yeah, it will. Yes, it will. You'll have to go to startup again. I've tried, you know, before, and it will say if you try to go and do run, it'll say startup not done. So you would have to do that again. So you may want to just do a background. Okay.
That's it?
That's it. Just make sure we